Hi, my name is Heather. This class is for people who suffer from chronic pain, um, those people who just have regular aches and pains sort of all the time, discomfort in your body like fatigue, and just general feelings of dis-ease. So these poses, I do personally have endometriosis, have chronic pain, um, and this is sort of my practice when I'm having a flare, like right now. Okay, so I have empathy for you. I know what it feels like. I believe you, um, and I really hope that this becomes a helpful thing in your life as well. Okay, so when you're ready, you can take a comfortable seated position. I really suggest, especially if you're trying to do this to ease pain, to find something to sit on. You could do blankets or blocks, or I have a yoga bolster here, but pillows would work. And we'll start by sitting up. If sitting with your legs crossed isn't comfortable, you could also take your legs apart, or if you're feeling extremely tired, you might take this first part just laying flat on your back, okay? Once you find the position that you'd like, close your eyes. If you go to close your eyes and you're not really quite ready to have them closed, you might just keep them open and gaze softly at a spot about 6 to 7 feet ahead of you. Just something that you can sort of let your vision go a little soft on. Not so much blurry, but just not a harsh gaze, just resting gaze, or eyes closed. At first here, we're just feeling what is there. Noticing your body in the position that you're in. Is it really comfortable? Now that you've taken a second, you might adjust yourself a little bit more. Noticing the places and parts of you that feel good, that feel open and free to move, that have energy. And noticing the other parts of you that might need a little bit more care today as we move. Bringing awareness to your skin, feeling your clothes on your body, the temperature of the air. You can even notice what you're smelling, what you're hearing. The way your hair feels, the way your teeth feel. Beginning to direct your awareness a little bit more inward, starting with your breath, just noticing how you're breathing without necessarily changing it. If you have a yoga practice or a meditation practice, you might have already changed your breath, and that's okay too. Just notice that you did that. Notice the unconscious ways that we adjust, the learned ways. And beginning to breathe a little bit deeper, just by making it take longer to inhale and exhale. So it comes out a little bit more slowly, without strain. Easy, slow breath. See if you can be aware of the feeling of your seat or your laying down, while also being aware of the feeling of the clothes on your skin, the hair on your head. While also being aware of your breath and any sensations, any feedback you might be getting from your body as well. so that you're fully embodying this moment, inhabiting yourself while inhabiting your environment. You can either keep your eyes closed or open your eyes, or you're going to take your arms down next to your sides. And if you're on the floor, you can do this too if you're laying on your back. But as you inhale, turn your palms out, reach your arms out and up. And then as you exhale, turn your hands out and reach them out and down, and just gently tuck your chin, even if you're on the ground. And again, inhale, opening up your arms, lifting your arms overhead. Maybe open your eyes, look up now. If it feels better to keep your eyes closed, if you're just so exhausted, you could do that too. Exhaling, tucking your chin slightly as you bring your arms down. Inhale, reaching up, looking up. You can bring hands in line with your shoulders. You can bring your palms together. Do what feels right. And one final time, deep inhale. Exhale, bring your arms down. Look straight ahead for a moment. Bring your hands to your thighs and just start gently rubbing them. So again, if you're on your back, you could probably still do that, or maybe now you want to come up into a seated position for a moment. And again, just taking any seated position. Just because I'm doing crossed legs doesn't mean you have to do that if that's not comfortable in your body. You could even do this sitting on a chair. Breathing as you move, again, being aware of your body, where you are in space, your breath, and how you're feeling, all in the same moment. A couple more rubs here, just warming up your thighs, feeling the shape of your muscles, the shape of your adipose tissues, your skin, your connective tissues. Great. So if you're up on something, just gently scoot yourself off. We're going to take your props out of your way. Swing both feet over to the left. So if you're sitting up on something, if you're on the chair or whatever, come down to the ground. I'm sure there's a way to adapt this to sitting on a chair, but I'm not with you right now. If you can think of one yourself, do it. But I'm going to have you bring both feet to the left. You're going to set your right foot on your left thigh, turn towards your right, and just lay on your right leg. Now, if you're having a lot of pelvic pain, if you've got inflammation here, then you might be up here. So your arm, you might not come all the way to laying down. Otherwise, you might come to your elbows, see how that feels, and then maybe finally laying completely down. Or maybe, since we have it, you could lay on, if you have it, on your props too. We'll just take a little time here. The idea is kind of just that you're squishing your right leg. Your left hip is relaxed, left side of your lower back. That left leg really isn't doing much. Okay, so just breathing, relaxing. And it's always interesting to try to imagine bringing your breath into the spot that you're experiencing discomfort. And when we're stretching, we're getting sort of a feedback. It's not necessarily discomfort. I love the feeling of stretching. I know there is sort of some feedback that it's like pain. Your nervous system is almost telling you that it's pain, right? Or it is. But we also know that subtle difference between pain that's actually hurting you and pain that's just a stretch. You trust yourself that you know the difference there. Take another deep breath. This is called deer pose in yin yoga. And then push yourself away from the ground. Come up to seated and just sit up here. Place your hands wherever they're comfortable. Close your eyes and just feel how you feel. Keep following your breath. And then begin to open your eyes, switch your legs to the opposite side. turn towards your left leg and lay on top of it. And again, if it's uncomfortable, you might be up here. This might be a better way for you to practice this pose, or on elbows, or on props, whatever, or laying flat on the ground too is fine. Be here breathing. Taking your time with your breath, still feeling what supports you, what's holding your body. Feel into your right leg, totally relaxed. Right hip, low back, just let that all be soft. And then start to push yourself away from the ground. Turn forward again and then close your eyes. Just take some breaths. Be with what is there. So this is an invitation to actually be with what's going on instead of checking out from what's going on. Like, feel the stretches, feel any discomfort, also feel the pleasure that comes from stretching. Feel the air, feel the ground underneath you, feel the things, be with the things. Begin to open your eyes. Baddha Konasana, bottom of your feet together. I think I'll do this up on the bolster, but you could do it just seated on the ground as well. Bringing your heels in close, hold onto your toes or your shins. If you're sitting up onto something, shins might be better. And then start by trying to reach your knees further out to the side while pushing your feet together. Reach your knees out to the sides while pushing your feet together. And we get that nice, strong activation of external rotation in our hips. Externally rotating means turning out. Yeah, keep pushing your feet together, stretching your knees out to the side. You can start to rock from side to side a little bit here. If this feels like too much effort for you right now, you can do this without like the activation of your hips. You can just rock from side to side with your knees just passively laying out to side. That's okay. You might switch back and forth. You might try the strongly activated version and then go back or go into the softer one. Awesome. Okay, now coming to stillness, lift your heart. If you've got a bigger chest or belly, bend your elbows out to the side so you can pull yourself through your arms as much as possible. Lift your heart, elbows straight, look up. And then exhale, begin to fold forward. If you're on something, you might scoot your butt back so you stay on it and don't slip off. And just moving forward slowly, seeing and noticing the stretch as it starts. So we have this idea that the beginning of the stretch is like the soft edge, and the end, the biggest stretch, is the hard edge. And when we're in chronic pain, when we already have all of this feedback coming from our nervous system and our body, sometimes it's nice to stay in that safety range, you know, like closer maybe to the soft edge of the pose. Maybe some of you can lay all the way down, placing your forehead on the ground or blankets, props, whatever you got. Noticing where the stretch lies, where is it residing for you? You can let your head hang here if that sounds good for your body. These poses are just an invitation. They're, you know, see what you get out of it. See if this helps your situation. And if it doesn't, adapt. You know, what, maybe if you move a leg this way, or you come out of the pose more, go deeper, or get more props, you know, explore these poses. They are not set in stone. And keep returning to your breath and your body. Return to the feeling of the stretch. And when you're ready, take a deep inhale, lift your head. And then exhale. If your arms are out in front of you, walk them back. Start to sit up slowly. And then close your eyes once you get up to seated. Sit up tall, or maybe lay down. And just feel how you're feeling. Begin to open your eyes. Okay. Find your way onto your back. Have your props next to you if you're using props. I kind of like a prop for this, even if you just have a folded up blanket. If we can raise your hips up at least slightly, this is going to feel different than without it. Different meaning not better or worse necessarily. So you can play with that. If you don't have those props now, you might try this again later and see the difference. Go ahead and place your hands on the two frontal hip points of your pelvis, the two hard bones there. This is called your anterior superior iliac spine. It's a bony process on your ilium, which are the two sides of your pelvis, sometimes called innominate. But you're going to place your hands there and just notice if like one seems more lifted than the other. See if maybe you can relax your lower back a little bit more, relax your lower belly a little bit more. A lot of people with chronic pain have back pain, low back pain specifically, but sometimes other parts of the spine as well. And then also for people like me with endometriosis, I mean, I know there's tons of different chronic pain syndrome or diseases, but if I'm talking about myself, like the pelvis, definitely a lot of my pain centers there as well. This is a nice little thing I like to do to help bring some awareness, but also some release to that area. Bring your feet to the floor, flat on the floor. They can be a little bit wide, narrow, err on the side of wide instead of narrow. So taking your feet out, maybe wider than your hips or at least in line with them, but not close together. I think I've said that enough times. Okay, so you're gonna start to push down into your feet a little bit and just feel the feeling of your back side of your body activating. You might close your eyes so you can feel that, and then stop pushing into your feet and totally relax. You're just gonna do that a couple times, like really push into your feet and just feel that gentle lift. Like you're not even actually coming off the floor, but you can feel your body get light and then relax. You'll do that one more time, just pushing into your feet, just feeling that little bit of toning there at the back side to lift you. And then relax. Something a little less subtle. Tuck your tailbone toward the back of your knees, and you'll feel your low back sort of press into the ground more. And then tuck your tailbone toward the floor, and you'll actually feel your low back pick up off the ground a little bit. Almost like you're going to try to sting the mat with your tailbone. Like you're a little bee. And then pick your tailbone back up, rounding it up toward the back of your knees. We'll do those a couple times. These are called pelvic tilts. You can keep your hands on your hips if you'd like, or you might place your hands somewhere else. And this first part, I know I mentioned getting a bolster or something. This first part we are just doing on the ground, in case that wasn't clear. Sometimes when I'm in a flare, my brain is super foggy. So I apologize if I'm not being clear enough with my words. Okay. Just a few more here. Just gentle tilting, or maybe more accentuated tilting if you like that. This is almost like cat-cow, but isolated just in the lower body. And just breathing naturally, normally. You know, as you do these yoga practice or somatic practices, your breath, you start to become more aware of your breath in general. So you'll remember like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be tracking my breath. And you'll get further away from being like, oh my God, I wasn't breathing. I'm such a terrible yogi. It's fine. You were obviously breathing enough to not die, so. All right. So now we're gonna find the bolster or something to elevate your hips. Go ahead and slide it underneath you. Mine is kind of high, and maybe not all of you are gonna like this high. You're gonna take your arms out to the side and then stretch your legs out straight. Take your feet kind of far apart. And then this is the pose, and this is, you know, for me, this is one of my favorite things. It's a supported back bend. Notice any tension on your tummy. A lot of us hold tension here unconsciously. If your chronic pain involves like IBS, if it's like belly stuff, this might be a nice way to open up this zone, which is probably feeling pretty vulnerable. If it is actually very vulnerable and you don't really like this, you might take something and just set it on your tummy. If you have a hot water bottle, that might feel really good too. So just continuing to breathe here. You might notice your heartbeat in your belly. We've got a really large artery that runs through our belly called the vena cava artery. It's the same artery for pregnant women that after 20 weeks, you're not supposed to lay flat on your back because the baby might lay on that artery and cut off its own blood supply. They now know that actually that's pretty rare, but still. Interesting fun fact. So as you're laying here, just feeling yourself supported by the ground, notice the points of contact, like your head is probably, the back of your head is probably on the ground right now. The backs of your shoulders, your arms, the back of your hands. Notice how curled your fingers are. Some of this body scan stuff can be easier with your eyes closed. I've got mine closed. If you want to close your eyes too, go for it. You might be able to notice the curve of your spine, the weight of your body on the blankets or bolster, whatever you've got propping you up, pillows, whatever it is. Notice the heaviness of your thighs and just really let them be that way. Noticing anything going on in your knees. If your knees feel vulnerable at all, grabbing something else to place underneath your knees. Basically just constantly giving ourselves the support that we need. Right? Feel your heels on the ground. Begin to make little ankle circles. Let's give our feet some love. Ankle circles in one direction and then the other. Right? Notice how that moves your entire body to create those circles. Noticing your breath. Staying present with any tension that might start to build around your eyes or between your eyebrows, in your jaw, around your ears even. Keep those ankle circles, just giving a lot of love there into the foot. Especially, you just can notice how much the bottom of your foot moves to create these circles. So the sole of your foot, the arch of your foot. Okay, let's give our toes a little love. So push your heels forward, pull your toes towards your shin, and then totally relax your ankle. Spread your toes wide, and then make a little fist, like ball up your toes like you would making a fist with your hand. And then once again, spread your toes super wide, and then pull your toes in. And now start to shake out your legs, just shaking your feet in and out. Continuing to notice yourself lay on the floor, continuing to notice your breath and the sensations that the pose might be giving you. Just quickly moving your feet in and out. Great. You can let that go into stillness. Bend your knees, place your feet on the floor. Walk your feet out kind of wide and let your knees drop towards each other. Stay there for a moment, breathing. Take another long, slow breath. And then I have two options for, it's going to be pretty much the last pose. To come off of your props, to bring your feet a little closer together, push down into your feet to lift your hips up off of that prop. Slide it out of the way, slowly lower yourself back down to the ground. Roll over to, actually stay here for a second, and possibly you're going to do, let's see, roll over onto your belly from here. You can either do half frog, Ardha Vikasana, by bringing one foot toward your outer hip and then reaching back, grabbing with your hand and pulling down. So I'm looking for that quad stretch here. Once you've got your foot, you're going to turn your chest and look forward and breathe, of course. So you'll do both sides if you're doing that stretch. But if that stretch seems like a lot, if it hurts your knee at all or whatever it might be, I was thinking that might be good for people who don't really want to get up off the floor. But if it's just not accessible in your body, you can do either side. I don't care what side you start on, but step one foot forward and then just go into the low lunge. If you've got blocks, you might put your hands on blocks. This stretch is actually deeper in the quad and into the hip flexor if you come up a level. So just seeing what feels good to you. So like I'm saying that this is actually a little bit less of a stretch than this. And then the one on your belly while holding your leg, not trying to give you too many options so you get confused, but this one, half frog pose, is slightly different. You're not going to get up into your belly as much. Okay, both hip bones are weighted down on the ground, so you can begin if you haven't already on one side. But both hip bones are flat on the ground for this one. And if you're in the kneeling lunge and you're in the low position here, and you want to get lower, you bring your hands to the inside, bring your elbows to the ground. Okay, so just seeing which option. There's a few, hopefully not too many. Just seeing which one is serving you the most today, which one is giving you what you need right now. And if it's none, you could just lay flat on your tummy with one cheek to one side, you know, here, and just wait. So if you were doing one side that whole time, go ahead and switch sides. And once again, being aware of how your body is being supported in space, the ground underneath you. Being aware of your temperature, the feeling of your skin, the feeling of the clothes on your skin, the feeling of the temperature of the room. those things. Maybe you have one of your symptoms is sort of like a skin thing. Maybe it's, tingliness of your skin or itchiness or sensitivity. So being aware of where that is and being present with it. Remember, if you're doing this belly down back bend / quad stretch, that both hip bones are on the ground evenly. And once you catch your foot, you're actually turning forward. So last couple breaths here, whatever side you're on, stay there. And instead of Shavasana, which is traditionally the pose that you end yoga class with, corpse pose, I'm going to have you actually do, unless you want to do corpse pose, I'm going to have you do child's pose. If you have support, child's pose can be really nice to do supported. That's up to you. Otherwise, you can begin child's pose now. I like to take a bolster and like put a blanket or pillow or something underneath the top of it. I like sort of straddle the bolster. So you could do child's pose with your knees together or wide apart, and that's going to depend on how you feel like, and it might also depend on your ankles and your hip flexibility. So see which one is good for you. If you're already there, stay. Otherwise, coming into child's pose now, and we'll hold for a little while here. You might close your eyes or keep them open. As throughout class, you're just sort of doing what is coming. You're meeting things as they arise, where they're at, how they are. And as you start to move into stillness and hopefully quiet, just seeing what comes up for you. Feeling the parts of your body that are supported by the ground, noticing the deep stretch at the front of your ankles here. If your head is turned to one side, turn it to the other side. Take another long and slow breath where you're at. And I'm hopeful that you can carry this level of awareness, or at least the continued ability to check in instead of checking out. Being present with the pain in your body so that you can take care of yourself instead of pushing it away and trying to, work around it. I invite you to engage with it, work with it. Begin to sit up. know it's hard because I'm with you. I've experienced chronic pain as well, and you know, there's highs and lows. Thank you so much for taking the time to take this class, and I really do hope that it helps you. I have lots of videos on YouTube to choose from that may or may not be more specific to what you have going on, so please look. I think, you know, I do have categories, and in the therapeutic session or restorative section, not session, you might find something like that. I also, I do teach private lessons where we can focus on these things individually, and I can also do that through like Zoom or FaceTime or something if you're interested in booking an online session with me. So thank you so much again, and I hope you take another one of my classes soon.